Where in the world did God bury the 12 disciples of Jesus? Actually, he didn't. The apostles' own burial places are wrapped in history, faith, and tradition, scattered across Europe, the Middle East, and even India. Peter, the rock on which Jesus built his church, was crucified in Rome and buried underneath what would become St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Andrew, brother of Peter, is said to have been crucified in Patras in Greece. But both Patras and Amalfi in Italy claim to have his relics. James, the Greater, son of Alphaeus, is traditionally said to be buried in Santiago de Compostela in Spain. John, the disciple whom Jesus loved, died in Ephesus in what is now Turkey. His tomb is there. Philip is said to have been martyred in Hierapolis, also in modern Turkey. And Bartholomew, traditionally considered to be the same as Nathaniel, has multiple claims on his burial: Armenia, Rome, or even India. Thomas, the apostle who doubted, is traditionally said to have been martyred in Mylapore, now part of Chennai in India, and a tomb there exists. Matthew, the tax collector, has several traditions surrounding his death and burial. Some say he was killed in Ethiopia, while others say he died in Salerno in Italy. James the Less, also known as James the Just, is said by some to be buried in Jerusalem. Others say he was buried in Syria. Jude, also known as Thaddeus, is said to be buried in Beirut in Lebanon, while others claim that his relics are in Rome. Simon the Zealot, traditionally considered to be Simon Cananius, has conflicting traditions about his burial place. Some say he was buried in Persia, others in Georgia, and yet others say he was taken to Britain. Finally, Matthias, the apostle who replaced Judas Iscariot, is traditionally said to have been buried in Trier in Germany, or at least some of his remains were. Another tradition says he was buried in Jerusalem. Now, none of this is archaeologically confirmed. What we have are early church writings, legends, and relic traditions that have come down to us. Many of the apostles' relics were moved over the centuries, so it's not surprising that there are so many claims. Places associated with Jesus' 12 disciples became centers of faith for early Christians all across the world. For them, the physical remains were less important than the spiritual meaning behind them. After all, they believed that the apostles had become martyrs for their faith, and their bodies had become vessels for the divine.